Most disrespectful moments this NFL season.
Last season, we saw players and teams around the league take disrespect to a new level. From over-the-top celebrations to fights both on the field and even on social media, and even front offices getting involved in the disrespect, the 2023 season had it all. Today, we will be breaking down some of the most disrespectful moments from the 2023 season. Up first is a celebration that cost one of the league's biggest stars nearly $11,000. 1. Justin Jefferson's too little celebration against the Carolina Panthers. Justin Jefferson's 2023 season was a roller coaster. When he was on the field, he continued to prove himself as arguably the best wide receiver in the league. However, injuries would keep him sidelined for a majority of the year. This did not stop him from having one of the most disrespectful moments of the entire season. In a game against the Carolina Panthers, Jefferson made an incredible catch in tight coverage. He quickly jumped to his feet and hit his defender with a too little celebration. However, the league would not like this, and he was fined $10,927. Justin Jefferson was not the only big name to cross the line with a celebration. 2. Josh Allen's taunting against the Cincinnati Bengals. Quickly, the Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo Bills have become a budding rivalry, with the two teams being at the top of the AFC. Whenever they face off, it becomes a must-see matchup, and tensions between the two sides are high. This was the case in Week 9. Josh Allen found himself with nothing but green in front of him on a run. He took this opportunity to point at the closest Bengals defender while he crossed the goal line. This would earn him an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and he also received a $10,927 fine following the game. What if I told you one player learned an entire language just so he could trash talk without getting fined? 3. DK Metcalf learning sign language to disrespect the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. After a series of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and fines early on in the year, DK Metcalf knew that some things had to change. As a result of this, he relearned American Sign Language for the sole reason of trash-talking his opponents. The first time he pulled out some sign language came in a game against the Los Angeles Rams. Following a 73-yard touchdown reception, Metcalf looked into the camera and signed #44 is my son. However, he would do the same thing just weeks later in a game against the San Francisco 49ers. After another crazy touchdown reception, DK would channel his inner Dash Migos and sign I'm a Dog, Wolf from the group's hit song Bad and Bougie. The 49ers would end up getting the last laugh with one of their players knowing sign language as well. 4. Taylor Pepper getting back at Metcalf. While DK would have his fun with the sign language, this move would end up biting him. Little did Metcalf know, someone on the 49ers would also be fluent in sign language. Following DK's ejection after a fight with Fred Warner, San Francisco's long snapper Taylor Pepper would post a video on social media of him signing 14F around and found out. This next disrespectful moment also came from San Francisco, where one player would have a surprise for one of the team's biggest rivals. 5. George Kittle's undershirt, bring up Gary Plummer. George Kittle would take inspiration from former San Francisco 49ers linebacker Gary Plummer in the team's matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Following a touchdown by running back Jordan Mason, Kittle joined in the group celebration by pulling up his jersey, revealing an undershirt that said F Dallas. He followed this up by taking to Instagram to post a picture of his celebration with the caption, 3-piece chicken tendy for turning 30. SNF always a blast. Who lost to me in rock, paper, scissors again? It was clear that this move cut deep, with Cowboys linebacker saying, hey said F Dallas. I feel like he's making it way more personal than it had to be. Kittle is my guy, but I'm going to say this, laugh now, cry later. We got something for that. If we see them again, just trust. For this stunt, Kittle was fined $13,659, but he earned the respect of Gary Plummer, who said, I just started getting inundated with pictures of Kittle. And then clips of the Pat McAfee show where he gave me credit for coming up with it in '94. You just watch the way he plays the game, I just really enjoy it. First of all, he's a trash talker, which I love. And then he plays so hard. Up next is the face of the league going on a post-game tirade in the face of an opposing quarterback. 6. Patrick Mahomes' post-game rant to Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes has quickly become the golden boy of the NFL with the departure of Tom Brady. However, he had an out-of-character, disrespectful moment in a game against the Buffalo Bills. This is a game that came down to the wire, with Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs being in scoring position late in the fourth quarter. He found Travis Kelce, who shockingly lateraled the ball across the field to Kadarius Toney, who scored what would have been a game-winning touchdown. However, the play would end up being called back after the officials ruled that Toney lined up offsides. Mahomes was irate following this call and yelled at the officials until the game concluded. This included opposing quarterback Josh Allen, who the cameras caught Mahomes telling, "Wildest effing call I've ever seen. Offensive offsides on that play, man, effing terrible." Basically telling Allen that his team would have won the game if the officials did not get involved. However, he quickly walked back these post-game comments saying, "Obviously you don't want to react that way. I mean, I care, man, I love it, I love this game, and I love my teammates. I want to go out there and put everything on the line to win, but obviously you can't do that, can't be that way toward officials or really anybody in life. More than anything, I regretted the way I acted toward Josh after the game because he had nothing to do with it." It was clear that Allen did not take the disrespect to heart, saying, "I was just like, it's football, it's a game of emotion. I know he didn't mean anything by it, and I know the cameras kind of caught the last few seconds of what we were talking about. But he's an ultimate competitor. He wants to win, and that's why he is who he is." Mahomes would get the last laugh, sending Allen and the Bills home in the divisional round of the playoffs after the Bills missed a last-second field goal. Up next is a team suspending one of their top players for a crazy reason. 7. Jaire Alexander being suspended by his own team. This may have been the most shocking act of disrespect from the entire 2023 season. Following a win on Christmas Eve, the Green Bay Packers would gift their star cornerback Jaire Alexander with a one-game suspension. But that's not even the craziest part. He was suspended for saying that the team wanted to play defense first in the opening coin toss. Before the game, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur told the officiating crew his intentions should they win the toss. Had this conversation not have happened, Alexander would have cost the Packers a possession and potentially even the game. Technically, by saying that he wanted to be on defense rather than deferring for the second half, the Panthers would have gotten the ball to start the game and the second half. To make things even worse for Alexander, he was not even supposed to go out for the coin toss to begin with. This act would end up landing him a one-game suspension.
And some news out of Titletown as the Packers prepare for the Minnesota Vikings on New Year's Eve. The team has suspended quarterback Jaire Alexander for one game for conduct detrimental to the team.
Rounding out the list is a disrespectful move that could leave a team facing a legal case. 8. The Denver Broncos benching Russell Wilson. Arguably the most disrespectful moment from the 2023 season came with the Denver Broncos' treatment of Russell Wilson. Many knew heading into the year that the Russell Wilson era in Denver would not last long, as the team had far too many holes in the roster to be true contenders in a loaded AFC conference. Despite this, Wilson still had a solid season, throwing for 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Although he only played in 13 games, he still finished the year throwing for the 8th most touchdowns in the league. Even with promising play at the quarterback position, the Broncos still struggled to an 8-9 record, and it was clear that the coaching staff was ready to move on from him. Behind the scenes, they made this even more clear, threatening to bench Wilson for the remainder of the season if he did not defer a clause in his contract that guaranteed him $37 million in the 2025 season if he was injured. However, he did not back down, and after 13 games, the Broncos would end up benching him for Jarrett Stidham. Wilson would end up getting the last laugh, joining a promising Pittsburgh Steelers team and making about $38 million from Denver. Along with this, he could end up making even more if a court case against the Broncos is successful.